Colin, I've been thinking really hard about how to solve world peace and hunger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did you come up with?
we hold a $10 Rocket League tournament.
It's a great idea. I don't
Uh-huh.
think it's gonna accomplish the lofty goals you've set for it.
of solving world peace and hunger.
Yeah.
Will it solve the goals of being a good time, though?
Yeah, probably.
What's up, and welcome to the Talkin Carball podcast, episode 20. 20 episodes.
20 episodes.
20-ish weeks?
We can almost drink.
We can, our podcast baby can almost drink. Wow. What a beautiful episode. But the Talkin Carball podcast is host to the Talkin Carball Invitational, which is going to be next Friday. Not next Friday, this Friday, February 18th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Sign up. I think we're probably going to keep signups open until, let's say, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Does that sound good?
I think we're okay with keeping signups open until Friday at about 6:25 Eastern.
Bro, we need to make the teams.
It will only take us like 5 minutes.
Okay, well, sign up. Sign up if you already haven't. I think we got like, we're definitely in the double digits for participants. We're looking to just, match people up with someone at the opposite end of the skill spectrum. And so far, like with our prospective teams that we've sort of like thought up in our brains, like things are looking pretty good. It's going to be a really fun time.
Yes. Me and Austin will have a good time. We will be playing as well as hosting, casting, streaming. A lot on our plates, but hopefully it will go well.
Yeah, I can't think of two people more qualified to do all of those things. So
yes.
there will not be a single technical difficulty or hitch the entire time. This is something we do all the time.
It's gonna look so good. It'll be like everyone will be tweeting out RL Esports being like, hey, you guys should hire these guys. They put on such a good show with just two people.
Wait, should I book a ticket to Los Angeles? Is that a little preemptive?
I mean, maybe, but don't expect to buy a ticket because they're all sold out.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously they're gonna, once they see our work, they're gonna pay for everything.
Oh, true.
But I need to be able to at least get into California. I think they're gonna need me.
They might. I think they're gonna need to be out on the field because I'm looking real good these days. Dropped like 160 MMR in about 2 days. I need the Pro Rocket League to come back so that I can remember how to play the game.
Use the brain drain to steal their talent.
Mm-hmm.
Absorb, Colin the sponge.
Yes. All right. On to, less important Rocket League.
Yeah.
That was our business. It's time for news. You guys know the drill. KCP signs for Kidden. Well, I think they're going to be branded as just Pioneers instead of Kansas City Pioneers for this. Yeah. But
one of the most out of left field org announcements I think we just about have ever seen. Did you see this coming?
Is there any way to look at your own chat history on Twitch? Someone knows Torment and if he could pull up my chat history in his chat, I've made a joke saying KCP signs for Kidden in Australia. And I would love the proof of that.
Like some KCP manager was watching Torment stream, was like, holy shit, it got leaked. But I mean, KCP obviously had a team that was LAN caliber last season, tried to sign a team with God, Lord and Savior Kronovi this season to be LAN caliber, didn't quite pan out, and now I think they finally landed on the recipe because 4Kidden look poised to hopefully go to LA.
Yes. They are in position. Let's see. Let me pull up the rankings. They're currently in. That's weird seeing Pioneers there. Currently in second place. So they're in that land spot right now.
Yeah, and they've been the most consistent team past both regionals.
Yes.
So
2 second place finishes.
is Renegades number 1?
Renegades is number 1.
Yeah. So that would be super hype for them. We were talking about, I think, earlier when they were sort of like teasing their announcement, how hype it would be for them to have an org backing them as they try and navigate the logistics and just like having their first LAN experience. And so having KCP, let alone like an American org who could probably help them get visas and stuff like this is just like big dubs all around, despite the fact that it is a little weird seeing organization branded as Kansas City signing an Australian team.
Yeah, but it's good all around. Good for the Pioneers. Good for Kidden. So
yeah, all dubs, all dubs.
Liquid, in a shocking announcement that I hadn't realized wasn't official yet, announced Atao and Oski that they're going to be on the roster. And they also announced that Psyonix has granted them an exception and they will be allowed to attempt to qualify and play in Regional 3. Now, the big deal with that was Atao and Oski are not 15 right now and will not be for the qualifiers, but will turn 15 prior to the start of the main event.
Yeah, slightly strange, especially in light of other news that we're going to talk about. I mean, my kind of thoughts on this is like, I'm kind of pro let the boys play. Like, I think kind of like the hard age restriction in general is stupid. Uh, but it does seem kind of weird just because, like, especially Liquid, like with Wikipedia, have deep ties to the Rocket League community. It seems a little sketchy that they get granted this exception because history has shown Psyonix has almost never been kind to people competing under the age of 15.
Think that as long as you're 15 by the start of the event, I think that should be allowed. Obviously, the thing we're alluding to and thing that was much discussed on Twitter this week is they announced that Zen, the French prodigy, has been banned from RLCS for 1 year due to playing in a tournament when he was 13 and lying about his age. But I think they're two different situations.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing is like when you think about Zen, you think about Atomic, you think about LJ and Jamal Jabari. Like I don't think in any of those situations like the player was asking for permission. In each of those they were asking for forgiveness. Where like you said, Zen like didn't like wasn't transparent about his age or whatever. Like I think this like you said, this is slightly different. It's still
Yeah.
just the timing feels weird.
I think the difference is this is a team asking for permission to allow people who are about to turn 15 play in a tournament that they will be 15 for versus a player going behind Psyonix back, lying and saying they were 15 even though they weren't even really that close. I think it's two different situations.
Yeah. Big takeaway here for me is I really hope that the Zen ban isn't 1 year. Because even if like you sort of like frame it that way with like him going behind the back of Psyonix and like jeopardizing whatever sort of promises they're making in terms of sponsorships or just even talking fairness, 1 year is a really long time, especially in an esports career. That seems really harsh, and Zen is just such a top tier talent. It would just be a real shame. Like I hope it's just like 3 months or something where he has to miss out on a split. A full year, especially now with how much Rocket League is being played, that is a long time.
Yeah, if they keep the same calendar next year as they have this year, that would be because he's not even 15 yet. It would be like he wouldn't be able to play until the spring split of RLCS 4.
Yeah, I just hope he gets banned for the rest of RLCS 3 or something. Did Saiku serve a full year-long ban?
Yes, he did.
Jeez, man. Jeez. Think about him and Atomic. Like, actually, like...
And well, the thing is with Seiko too. Seiko was banned because Zen played on his team.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my
it
god.
wasn't even because he played underage. It was because Zen was on his team.
Okay, maybe ban this kid for a year. Maybe ban this kid for a year.
Yeah,
I don't know, but how are you feeling about this Liquid roster?
I'm excited. I think it's a chronic Atao and Oski, and they're obviously extremely young, but they're all insanely good. Um, I'm excited. I hope they can make the main event. Obviously, Europe is very deep, and they will have some growing pains. But I think this is a team that's built for the future that can, maybe make a run here or there. Maybe try to emulate the Queso path.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Where the blueprint for three young up and comers trailblazing in the RLCS has absolutely been shown this past season. So, like, if they're looking for any sort of play style to model, or even just people to look up to, I think you're 100% right. Queso are the chosen ones for sure. And this is a completely different uh, path than what Liquid took when they first entered Rocket League, signing Speed, Cooks, and Fruity was the original Liquid roster. They have gone the full 180 in what was one of the most tragic signings in history. So hopefully this one definitely, like you said, seems like a much better bet for the future, which is sort of what you have to do in RLCS nowadays.
So we'll see what they can pull out in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
First touch, I think, is having a Black History Month special. As you're hearing this, probably today
Yeah.
at 5 p.m. Eastern. So are they doing their normal podcast and then a tournament?
I think it's just like a special episode.
Special episode. They're doing some kind of tournament with African American content creators and pros. I know Arsenal's playing in it. Roll Diz. I'm not
Yeah.
sure who else.
Yeah, you're right. The episode's gonna feature guests, and then they're gonna host a tournament looking to donate to charity. So all around awesome. I mean, like I figured, first touch, it's only a matter of time before they shout us out. Um, might as well plug their incredible event as well.
I mean, yeah, we're pretty much like the second biggest Rocket League podcast out there, right?
Easily. I mean, they're probably just like saving it a secret. They're gonna end the special shouting out the Talkin Carball invitation.
Yeah, they're gonna end the Black History Month special by shouting us out, two very, very white guys.
Yeah, but check that event out. It's gonna be an awesome spotlight. It's gonna be really fun.
Yes. More org announcements. A crew.
A crew.
A crew. That makes more sense. It's spelled, I guess, like a gamer.
Horrible.
It's spelled gamerly.
Horribly.
Has signed Vibrance. The around top 20-ish roster, 16 to 20 roster NNA. Unfortunately, they will not be playing this week. They missed the main event and they missed the last main event, so they're slipping a little bit. But good to see them get signed. They were probably the best unsigned team in North America.
Yeah. Right after we give them a big shout out and say they don't get enough credit as due. They have completely fallen off the past couple regionals, but I would back them to come back, and obviously them getting signed is huge. It's pretty funny because a crew has a team in Valorant that very much occupies the same space where they dominate against any like team in the tier 2 scene, but they are never able to qualify for main events. So hopefully that doesn't translate to Rocket League, because that's kind of where Vibrance has been hanging out.
Yeah, that's not. Also, good on the players for securing the bag, as we've learned also on Twitter this week that NA players are raking it in compared to all the all the other regions.
Yep. Welcome to esports. You don't have to be the best to make the most money. You just have to live in North America.
Ooh. Yeah, there is some good banter inspired by Reddles this this week on Twitter. I think Arsenal said I think tweeted out like Cuxer saying you guys want to play under the RC babies because people in NA were saying their salaries could pay like 3 players in Europe.
I believe it. I most certainly believe it.
Noble Esports. Wait, so they dropped their team because of some kind of internal issues, right?
Yeah, they
And
like
so
it became public that they weren't paying their staff. I don't know like what the deal is with player contracts. I didn't see as much about that. But it was like it became public that they weren't paying their staff one day, and then literally pretty much the next day they had just shut down completely. So just horrible, horrible mismanagement and everything like that. But now one of the best teams in SAM are free agents.
they are going by erased right now, and someone tweeted out the classic "It's official contract signed" GIF today.
Yeah.
So might get an announcement soon.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that maybe they had more foresight into the org shutting down, and maybe they've been working on contracts or something for a little while. My God, it happened fast, and these guys deserve to be signed 100%.
Yeah.
They're in. Are they number one in SAM?
Are they?
I think they are. I'm failing to find out how to look at the rankings right
They
now.
are
I'm
number
like
1 in SAM. They have
99%
1
sure.
event win and 1 second place.
Yeah, these guys have a very good chance of going to LAN. There were no unsigned teams at LAN last time, right?
No.
No, definitely not.
No.
So that would be pretty legendary if there was. But
I mean,
I guess
we could have
they
come
got.
pretty close with this for Kitten just got signed.
Mm-hmm.
And then if like 3 rats out of Apex South or Apex South can get in.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to figure like if any team is like in the midst of contract negotiations with an org, like being able to leverage LAN qualification like is pretty much just going to guarantee. So
Yeah.
that's what Sadness, Math, and Night are looking to do.
So over in the bubble scene, the AAA Challenger Series event 2 happened. With Torrent taking first place. Magic Bear returned, and they absolutely destroyed it. 2-0 Vibrance, 3-0 Team EXE, 3-0 RVG, and then 4-1 IVG.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just look on paper, I think that you would pick Torrent to sort of be in the tier above this. Like Torrent, I very much consider to be a top 16 team. All these other teams I consider to be 16 to 20. And they absolutely showed it, especially with the return of Magic Bear. Seems like they've sort of regained the pep in their step because, like you said, this was a dominant performance.
Yes, and our favorite team, Power, went 0-2 and dropped out.
Colin, known power hater.
I mean, they're just so memeable.
They are so memeable, but hey, objectively, they are better this season.
They are.
So just you wait till spring.
Yes.
It's Forky season.
But with that as our news, normally here we would go into a review of the last regional, but we didn't have a review, so we're going to review the Super Bowl. Not kidding. We're going to do power rankings.
That we are. Would you like to start with, oh man, where do you want to start? North America, EU?
We have NA listed first, so let's go there.
Yeah, and we do think that NA is better than EU on this podcast.
I'll go first here, I suppose, and take the obvious answer.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shaq and the general.
Yeah. Energy number one. Here we're considering his results, form, and projection for the future. And there's absolutely no argument to be made for any team other than NRG. They were the best team in the fall. They're the best team in the winter, and they'll probably be the best team in the spring because
Yep.
at this point you're just dumb if you bet against them.
Yep.
Oh man, number two. I want to figure out how do I look at the winter rankings.
I'm just gonna link it for you.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Okay.
So if you look at the winter rankings, G2 is in the second spot because they won the second regional, with FaZe and Space Station both close behind. And for the overall rankings, FaZe is edging out G2 for the second spot. So I think
I was like, what? Because it was the major performances putting them ahead. Because G2 beat them in the fall.
But I think that G2 almost already are the more polished team. And I think that, at least in this split, they're going to be able to achieve their peak more. And it's just like when they're playing at their best, when Atomic is just being an absolute menace on the field, this team is borderline unstoppable. So I do think that at the moment, they do hold the second spot in the power rankings right now.
I agree. That brings us to number 3. FaZe and Space Station are actually tied for this third spot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna give it to FaZe. I think they're gonna be more consistent as a team just because of the sheer talent on the roster. They're gonna blow out any lower level team they play. The only time they struggle is gonna be against those top 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I think without that, they're gonna consistently be in that top 4, which we might see Space Station. Like I could see Space Station, dropping out of a regional or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. FaZe just haven't figured out how to play against the best teams in the region yet. Like they've had a couple good series against Space Station, but they got reverse swept by Energy, and I can't remember how I think they kind of flumped against Space Station in the first regional actually. So I think it's definitely a good shout to put them there.
Plus, God AXB.
God, AXB. And that takes us to the AXB Betrayers. As
Yes.
people love to call them. Everyone is always furious about that move.
I think I'm the only one.
Yeah. Number 4 is Space Station. All the reasons that Colin just sort of alluded to. They are very much on the border of being in that 3 spot. They're incredibly talented. Have shown some high highs. Not too many lows, but it does sort of feel like they're not quite as good as those top 3. I don't know. Is that wrong to say?
I can see that. Like right now, I would say, let Daniel grow into the RLCS a little bit, and they are going to be scary.
Yeah, I'd say of those 4 teams, I have the most question marks about Space Station going to LAN.
Yes.
Okay. Same boat.
And that's the end of the top 4 in NA. No one should be shocked at how that one turned out. No one should be shocked by my homer pick for number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Version 1. They are below Oxygen in points, but I do think they're better.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Oxygen beat them last regional, we're not gonna talk about that. But I think V1 is a better team. I think they have a better shot at beating the good teams. And yeah, I just think they're better. Is that bad to say?
Nah, one word. Facts.
Just better.
Just better. I think in terms of all around sort of talent, and I think if you look at the individual 3 pieces, V1 are a better team, and if you look at the combined pieces, V1 are also a better team. But I think they just had one really bad series against Oxygen. Well, not even like a really bad series, but like a very unlucky series. And actually, all credits to Oxygen there. They played out of their mind. But I think
Yeah.
if you had these teams play each other 10 times, V1 would win 6 or 7 of the series, and that was just one of the 3 that Oxygen won. So I'm on board. Number six,
Hopefully V1 can prove it by making LAN.
number 6, Rogue. No, I'm just kidding. Number 6 has got to be Oxygen. They've had way too good of a winter to disrespect them like that. 2 top 6s, I believe, off the top of my head. And like you said, they beat V1 in the head-to-head in a massive series last time, and in the close qualifier, which for some terrible reason they had to play to get into the regional 3, they swept it out, took care of business. So Oxygen are in that number 6 spot, debating on who you ask. They could be in the number 5 slot, but I think they're very much, to I think a lot of people surprised, that a confident top 6 team in NA.
I agree. Now to another team that for some reason had to play in the close qualifier but did not look as good.
Nope.
Rogue. They
Nope.
did get the job done. And I'm putting them here at 7. I think they're the 7th best. I cannot talk. 7th best team in the region right now. They are only getting better, led by Gyro and Aqua with The Rock holding it down. I think they're getting better, and they are one of the few teams really challenging for that last LAN spot.
Yeah, they have a very distant shout, but a shout nonetheless. So good times to be a Rogue fan. They didn't absolutely toss the bag. They were down. They were 1-2 in the Swiss stage for the close qualifier, and pulled out some big results against Ghost and Gentleman. So they will be at the 3rd regional, and they still have a chance. Oh man, number 8. Can you imagine that, like, A, going into Sweden, and even B, leaving Sweden like immediately afterwards, that we would not have Complexity or Envy in our top 7?
Yeah, that's kind of shocking.
Like, these
But
were 2.
deserved.
Yeah, these were 2 like top 4 teams. Not maybe not top 4, top 5, 4
I mean, for NA,
for NA. Top
they're
5.
certainly both top 5, which means one of them has to be top 4.
True. Yeah, they were sort of like occupying that space together, I feel like. But now neither of them are in the top 7. And if you were going purely off standings, they wouldn't even be in the top 8. But I simply cannot vamos. And, well, for Rogue and V1's sake, I'm not hoping for a deep run from Complexity because there are only so many available spots in the top 6 of NA. But I think it would be a bit of a shame with how great of a story that's been if their season really just peters out like it has, because they barely made it. They barely made any sort of run in the first regional. I think they took out Rogue in like the 9-12 slot, and they didn't even make it out of their group in the second one. So with the expectations that were on this team coming out of LAN, only losing to BDS and looking so good on the biggest stage, this season has been nothing short of a disappointment.
Yeah, I would agree. I am hoping for a Complexity run, at least as far as the lower round 2, if they manage to match up with Oxygen in the lower ones.
Which could very well happen.
Definitely on the table.
Not without us looking at the standings or any sort of way to predict that. It could happen.
I'm looking at it. If they go 2 and 3 in their respective groups, they'll play each other.
Okay. Then I must vamos.
Number, what are we at? 9?
Yeah.
Do I disrespect?
I wouldn't if I were you, but I won't be
I'm
mad.
going Shopify.
Oh my god, you fiend. Tell me about Shopify.
They're back, you know. They're looking good. They're looking good. They're currently in the 8th spot in the standings. You know, Rapid Memory back on top. Well, back in the mix
Yep.
with Parth. Um, you know, I'm scared of Rapid. The dude's like 6'9". Terrifying.
Yeah.
That's the
Dude.
deepest voice of all time.
Yeah, it's the deepest voice in Rocket League. And literally the most insane no angle backboard reader in all of Rocket League. I will stamp that till the day I die. That man scores more goals parallel to the goal line above the goal than anyone else in the world.
A lot is rolling over in his metaphorical retirement grave.
Yeah, well, he died like 3 years ago. So. Rolling. But yeah, I think that. Oh, I mean, I'll talk about Envy and 10 spoilers. I'm sorry. But I was just looking back, and last tournament, even where Shopify slid out in the first round of the lowers, they went 2-1 in their group, only losing to Space Station in Game 5, and then lost to an X set that looked very strong. So that I think that, like I said, I don't know if this is what I would have done if I was put in your position, but it's defendable.
Yes.
All right, 10 Envy.
10 Envy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I put for honorable mentions, I just put Xset.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else is deserving, really. And for dishonorable mention, I put Ghost.
Yeah, that team
Because
has fallen apart.
Ghost literally got the least amount of points they could have possibly gotten this split by getting last in the group in the first 2 events and then not even qualifying for the third one. We will not see this roster together next split. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. You know, they broke the narrative that Ghost was boring. This has been
By
kind of fun.
losing all the time.
It's been kind of fun to watch. um, but like you said, it's been made sort of public that there's a lot of internal difficulties with this team. You know, not like pointing fingers and names, but it kind of feels like a lot of it is on Lion Blaze.
Uh, apparently he has pretty low hours, but I don't
Yeah,
have numbers on that.
there was like a deleted tweet from Shock, like, oh man, this is horrible hearsay, but there's like a deleted tweet by Shock saying like someone's pretty much just like putting in so little effort that they were throwing, like not even like trying. And then like the following day, like Roldas and Shock did a co-stream for the regional for like 6 hours straight together. So probably doesn't sound like there's bad blood between the two of them, but the blood sounded horrible between the team dynamics. So there's only 3 people on the team in Rocket League.
Yeah.
And he is a little disconnected from the other 2 in terms of like age and sort of like stature in the scene.
I mean, he's in college. He's
Yeah.
not exactly a 15-year-old.
How old is Shock?
I don't know, but I learned recently that Shock, you know, like Mitz, the coach of Sandrock,
Yeah.
they're brothers.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Shock is 22.
Yeah, and Roldas is 25. So
I think Roldas is like the oldest player in the scene, though.
pretty much.
Lion Blaze is 18.
Yeah. So my point kind of stands.
Yeah. I mean,
But
they're kind of a boomer squad.
yeah, and they got boomed this entire season.
Yeah, they did.
Roldas is older than Cooks here.
Jesus.
Agent RLCS is, or just esports in general, is just a figment of the imagination.
Makes me feel like a boomer.
It's all just relative. It makes no sense. All right, NA power rankings wrapped up.
Yep. Do we want to run it down?
Yep. Number 1 NRG, 2 G2, FaZe, SSG, V1, Oxygen, Rogue, Complexity, Shopify, Envy, honorable mention Xset, dishonorable mention Ghost. Anyone else? Don't care.
On to the European Union.
Something else I don't care about.
Is that actually European Union? Are they all in countries in the... No, because England left. That whole thing.
Oh, yeah. No, that wasn't notable at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway,
Mm.
we have power rankings. I went first last time. Do you want to start us off this time?
Yeah. Sorry, Colin. Number 1 team EU, BDS.
No, very fair. Very fair.
Never, ever doubting this team ever again. If you did after the first regional, you're stupid. they've proved it time and time again. This is the best team in EU and probably the best team in the world, and maybe the best team the world's ever seen. We'll see in a couple months.
Except for Team Queso, who I'm going to put at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, currently on top of the European leaderboards. Just saying, my boys
by 40.
Definitely deserve to not beat the 1 spot, but I do think they deserve the 2 over Dignitas. They've beaten Dig 3 times in a row. The split, they are first in the points, clinched land. They're over 160 points ahead of Dignitas in the current standings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're clear in that 2 spot.
Also, kind of a cool shout. They have confidently moved into top 5 in the overall rankings for the entire. Like they're looking. Is how many? Is it top 6 to qualify for Worlds?
So
it's slightly different than.
It's weird because I don't have the right thing up. Full ranking. Top. Well, it depends on how many. Right now, Europe has 5 spots.
Okay.
In Worlds, and then an additional 1 spot, 3 spot. I don't know how many spots they have in the wild card. 3.
Whatever.
I think 3.
Queso are in top 5 by almost 400 points. So it's looking like they're probably gonna go to the World Championship, and they are going to LA. So this is, I think you're right, and definitely in terms of power rankings, this is the second best team. But there is a case to be made for the third best team, and that is Boston Scott's team, which is what I like to call Dignitas. They have barely taken a step wrong this season, other than running into Queso and losing, but they've looked really, really good. We saw in Sweden that this team can play to, specifically Joyous can play to a level that's frankly terrifying. And I'm excited to see what they do in the going into Regional 3 when the stakes are a little higher. And I'm really excited to see what they can do in LA.
Yeah, they haven't clinched their spot yet for LA, but I'm expecting them to do that pretty quickly here in the the third winter regional. They're due to win their group. They got to win their group and get that top 6 instead of fighting their way through the lower bracket every time. But yeah, I think they'll get that done.
Number 4.
Oh, is it me?
Yep.
I'm gonna go Endpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I think their history gives them a leg up. And obviously in the current standings, they're kind of surrounded by a bunch of teams, but obviously historically they did well in the fall, winning 2 events. They did pretty well, getting top 8 at the major. I think they're the 4th best team in Europe right now, although they need to put together a good performance to make this land.
Yeah, they kind of, I mean, they screwed themselves by not doing well, and they went 1 and 2 in the group. Still somehow got the 2nd seed. Format weird. But They lost to Luminosity in the first round, so not even like an abysmal tournament showing, but you're right. They need to step it up. And I think I have full faith that they will in the final regional. I think that they're like, I think Europe kind of has a top four right now. And even though they haven't necessarily shown it, I think Endpoint fills it out.
Number 5.
Number 5, I think I'm giving a respectable homer here when I say Misfits, but I do believe that Misfits are the 5th best team. I
I
think
agree.
so. They made top 4 this past regional, and EG made top 3, and those are the two teams who are kind of like hanging around there in points. EG is actually a little bit above, and I think that there's a good chance that Misfits get top 4 or greater in a future tournament. I am not sure if we will see Evil Geniuses ever return to this peak. So for that reason, I think that Misfits just kind of have a little more talent all around. I think they're a better team.
I agree. But I'm looking at this number 6 spot,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at Luminosity, but I think I'm gonna have to go EG just because they're in such a favorable position to make
Mm-hmm.
the major, and that if they make the major over Luminosity, they'll have like a huge point gap that maybe they're not necessarily better, but it gives them such a high, like a leg up for the winter or for the spring and just overall competition making that major. So I'm gonna put EG in a reluctant 6th.
Yeah, I think if you swapped like their draws in the past 2 tournaments, I think that EG would be at as low or maybe lower than Luminosity. Luminosity have only lost to Dignitas in the lower bracket. Obviously, there's more they could do in their groups, but I think you're right. EG has taken the chances they've been given, and I mean they certainly they pulled out a top 3 last time, so that can't be scoffed at. But anything else you want to say there? Can I take 7?
No. Sorry, I
7
was
7's been hard leaked. It's Luminosity. I think that they're tied on ports with Carmine, but their season has felt so much better. They ran into Dignitas in the first round of the lowers in the first regional. They ran into Dignitas in the second round of the lowers in the second regional. And each time they played them, they got a little closer to winning, but just couldn't pull it out. This team is crazy talented. And if they could pull it all together, I think they could make a deep enough run in this last regional to qualify for LAN.
I agree. Now, we have a similar situation here in EU as we did NA, where we've gone through 7 teams, and we're still missing 2 teams who went to LAN.
Yeah.
I'm not putting Vitality in, but I am looking at Semper. Are Semper a top 8 team in EU? And I have to think they are. Their performance doesn't really show it right now, but I have to think that Semper is a top 8 team. So I'm going to put them in that 8 slot.
Yeah. It's for completely different reasons, but they're kind of like EU's complexity at the moment. I mean, like they could not be more different teams, but they're kind of EU's complexity right now.
Yeah.
Number 9. I am unapologetically giving this to Williams Resolve.
They just got last.
Listen, their group was ridiculous.
It was. And they did beat BDS.
Their group was ridiculous. And Vitality only made it through the first regional because freaking Navi had to forfeit. And then when they had a group with 4 teams, they immediately got bounced. And I'm sorry, Carbine's roster will not stick together past this tournament, so it doesn't even matter. That team sucks. And Williams are good. They have a play style. They're going to continue to improve. They are number 9, and I will stand on that till the day I die. I might have put them above Semper. I'm just kidding. That's definitely the right call.
All right, number 10. I'm looking at Carmine and I'm looking at Guild.
Ooh.
Guild have been in one event, but they have a higher performance than Carmine's had in any event this split.
Killed. There's no way.
What do you mean?
It's just so funny. They literally have sucked so bad the entirety of RLCS 3.
Yeah, but CRR is good. It's a new team.
Oh,
We're
dude,
chalking up the first one as, misfortune.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out. They got second in the group of death. Then they beat KC. They beat 0-0. And they had a tight game with Misfits. I'm going Guild 10.
Let's go. David Beckham, #1 fan of our podcast. Listen, David, if you're out there, we're looking for a sponsorship. We will include Guild in all our power rankings in the future if you toss us a little bag.
Doesn't have to be big. Just like this, it could just be like $10.
Yeah, one-time payment. We'll wear Guild T-shirts every day. Maybe not that.
I mean, you'd have to send a lot of Guild T-shirts. I don't do laundry that often.
Yeah, I mean, if you send us T-shirts and pay us $10, I would probably wear a Guild T-shirt every day.
But everyone going to LAN, do laundry and shower, because apparently those things get stinky.
Yeah, it's a. You got 5,000 gamers in one room. What do you expect? Honorable mentions: 0 Nation, Navi, Singularity, Cookseer's Minions.
I see you skipped the two teams I actually wrote down, which were Carbine and Vitality.
Rick's GG,
Carbine
Stormtroopers.
still technically in a position where they could make the LAN.
Let me pull up the EU Open qualifier to think of some more teams I'd like to give props to.
Well, Wolves.
Savage. Louis. Double O. No, that they're an actual good team now. Former Nordavind, whatever those Norwegian guys are doing. I like them.
Former Nordavind is 0-0.
Yeah, but they didn't have this team when they were Nordavind.
Oh, just the Nordic guys.
Yeah, they had Trex. I think Trex is correct. Shouts out to Trex. Shouts out to Liquid. I'd like to give them an honorable mention.
Giants Gaming.
FC
Barcelona.
Yeah, Triple Trouble showed a lot of promise. I think they look pretty good. And anyone I didn't mention, I'm thoroughly disappointed in.
The random teammates you have at Diamond
make me happier than Vitality and Carmine.
Anyway, our E power rankings are BDS, Queso, Dignitas, Endpoint, Misfits, Evil Geniuses, Luminosity, Semper, Williams, Guild, with honorable mentions to everyone we just listed, as well as Carmine, Vitality, and 0-0.
Fair.
Now, with one event left each, we wanted to make a quick uninformed scoreboard Steven minor region prediction.
Yes, sir.
For who's making the major.
Where do you want to start first?
Down under.
Down under.
Down under.
Oh man. So the way that OCE is shaking up at the moment is Renegades have a very, very narrow lead over Pioneers, with the tiebreaker going to them because they've won an event. And Dire Wolves are also incredibly close to Pioneers. So those three teams are realistically the only three teams that have a chance. I guess in theory, if the other team slipped up and Ground Zero won the whole thing, like maybe there's a world where that happens, but I don't even know if that's possible at this point. So it's really a 3-horse race between Renegades, Pioneers, and Dire Wolves.
Yes. I think Renegades is gonna get it. They're the experienced team. CJ has the motivation of Joyo really wants to fist bump him on stage. Um, I think Renegades has that experience. They know how to perform in the clutch. They're not gonna choke it. I think they can make this.
Yeah, and I would chalk up most of their Regional 1 performance to sort of like what we talked about with a lot of those minor region teams, like coming home from the high of making Sweden and competing on the biggest stage, and like let alone like the quarantine restrictions. I think for a lot of those teams, the grind was at an all-time low. So I think they bounce back. Obviously, one regional event too. I think it would be a hard bet not to say that they'll be in that top two.
Question is, do Pioneers get the org buff or the org debuff?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've seen a few org debuffs at Heroic, at a crew.
Yeah. It's really tough because, I mean, Direwolves are really 30, not even 30, 29 points is pretty much nothing. If these two
Yeah.
If these two teams run into each other at any point, that is pretty much land on the line.
Yes.
And last time they did, For Kitten beat Direwolves. I guess, am I looking at regional? No, I'm looking at regional 2. For Kitten beat Direwolves in a game 7. So that's what we have to look forward to if these two teams run into each other in a bracket. Who are you taking?
I'm doing a quick calculation here. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In RLCS 3, For Kitten is 3-5 against Direwolves.
Okay.
I'm going Direwolves. I'm sorry.
We are officially now a Direwolves podcast. Direwolves, if you have a spokesperson of the caliber of David Beckham, please reach out to us.
I think it's just Walcott on the team.
Walcott? Isn't Walcott like super old?
He looks old.
20,
he's 25. Just turned 25.
Yeah. So Renegades and Direwolves officially stamped, signed, and approved the TCB predictions for OCE LAN spots.
Yes. Sam?
Sam.
Good old Samuel.
Samuel L. America.
L America. Just
America.
attacking Sam for no good reason. Who's making it?
Oh man.
I know what I'm thinking.
All right, I'll toss mine in there. I think Erased are doing it. They've got too big of a lead, I think, to toss. So they're 131 points up for the number 1 seed. If they don't take the top seed, they're probably taking top 2. Erased are going. Formerly Noble. Actually, don't even want to give them the associations of Noble. Just Erased. Talk to those guys.
And for number 2, coming in with a 9-point deficit, I believe in the Furia comeback. I think they're the best team in their region.
Yeah.
They same thing with Renegade, slipped up in that first regional, but they're the best team in this region. They won the last event.
And I mean, people were freaking out when I think they were only top 8 in the first regional. And in the fall, they had one that they got top 8'd. They lost in the top 8 in one of the events, and they still managed to qualify for LAN because they clutched up in the third regional. So I'm on board. Fury doing it again. We're gonna see Kaio at LAN, the great one.
The great one. Sorry, Era. You got boomed out of the last LAN, and you're not going to this one.
Yeah. Astromic's stream numbers absolutely pop. So they'll be all right.
Is recommended for me when I'm on Twitch, and I don't know what he's saying, but
he's always got 1K viewers, so props to him.
Yeah. Middle East, do we have to even say it?
I would like to say that Colin has already written the name in, and I am not being given a voice on this podcast.
Or you
And
think sites are gonna make
I
it?
think $150,000 of my own cash on sites to qualify.
Yeah, SRG are going to land.
Yeah.
They've lost one series the entire uh, RLCS 3.
Yes. So glad you're on board.
APAC.
I want to see the rats.
I want to see the rats too, but do I believe in the rats?
I'm trying to remember how close they played against Verity last time. It was like decently close, but Verity did look like a tier above.
Tokyo won 3-2 in the upper finals and then swept in the grand finals.
It's rat season.
I put SRG in there. I'll give you the rats.
It's rat season, baby. They're
I
gonna do
do
it.
think Tokyo is the better team, but I think the rats have the ability to do it.
Coach OSM. Easy money.
Put them on the field.
Put him on the field. That would be wild.
He would actually probably be very competitive in APAC.
Yeah, he would dunk on some kids.
He's only 18.
OSM?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Let's look at a whole career ahead of him not to have because he'll probably be freestyling.
Yeah. All right. And we're coming back home to North America. Now that we've filled out the land spots.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed you who's going. We have the closed qualifier that happened last weekend. The teams that made it were Oxygen Esports, Sonics, Randoms, Charlotte, Torrent, All Mid, Rogue, and Shopify. And for reference, Randoms is a roster of Two-Piece, Chronic, and Knight. And All Mid is a roster of Flitz, Kiri, and Angel, with Chief Walrus as the coach. I don't normally shout out the coach, but when your name is Chief Walrus.
This guy, I don't know anything about Chief Walrus. This guy pops. I'm just gonna say it right now. This guy pops.
And the teams that qualified but didn't make it were Accru, Ghost, NXT, E United, Gentlemen, Sup, Farmville, and Flashes of Brilliance. It's good to see Flashes of Brilliance come out and make it to the qualifier. They went 0-3. Ghost, I will say, kind of got screwed. Their 3 losses were to Oxygen, Torrent, and Rogue.
Yeah.
Which are arguably the 3 best teams in this close qualifier.
And the 2 series they won were against EU and Accru, 2 top 20 teams in North America.
We're still missing Pittsburgh Knights have not really been around. They didn't make the close qualifier. Yeah. Power didn't make it. NXT did make it. Nefarious didn't make it. That's a different roster, right?
Is Nefarious Litecoin? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Nefarious is Litecoin. And NXT's former Devious.
Yes.
New pickup roster for Farmville. Blaze Mexo Mike made the qualifier, but also went 0-3.
Did you see the meme on Reddit?
No.
It was the picture of, I forget the actor. He's just like standing there, and it's like Wanda Mike's new pickup team. And then there's Jason Momoa, the huge like Aquaman dude, like sneaking up behind him to give him a giant bear hug. And it's any NA top 24 team.
Rest in peace, Mike, man. Rest in peace, Mike. But not rest in peace to Rogue and Shopify, especially Rogue. Rogue going 3-2, keeping it late in a game 5 against Ghost to qualify for regional event 3. That would have been absolutely tragic. I don't think past iterations of this Rogue roster would have bounced back after going down 1-2. So I
Especially
think,
after losing to all mid.
yeah, that's an all-time low right there. But the boys pulled it out. What can you say?
And unfortunately, Oxygen did sweep and qualify, which I was hoping they wouldn't. No hard feelings to my former boy Gimmick, but
that's just disrespectful. You gotta beat them to make it.
Yeah,
Well, you gotta think about it.
Yeah. All right, and we have our groups for the. Well, no, what's the name here?
Mobile One.
The Mobile One Mountain Classic.
That's a horrible name.
What are you talking about? Mobile One, known for preserving the environment and the beautiful mountains.
Yeah. Why is it not just why is it the Mobile One Mountain Classic? What does that have to do with anything? What is this a Cronovia reference?
No, they're actually playing on servers in Colorado. Everyone's gonna have like 90 ping, except Juries.
Wonderful. The boys.
So our groups are Group A, Energy, Version 1, Shopify, and Randoms. Group B is FaZe, Envy, Rogue, and All Mid. C is G2, Oxygen, Sonics, and Charlotte. Group D is Space Station, Complexity, Exet, and Torrent. And I have a complaint on the format.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the groups are the same every week.
I think you might be onto something. I think you might be onto something. Holy, that is horrible. What? All right, we had our. We can't complain anymore. We're not allowed.
The groups are the same.
We're just get to the predictions.
All right, RPG A2. That's on you. Who's finishing second in Group A?
Who is finishing second in Group A? It will be NRG.
Oh.
I think that they are going to slip up in one game in this group, and that'll be one game only. They did last time, but got bailed by the format. Not going to get bailed this time, and either Shopify or V1 will take the top spot.
Well, I'm predicting that top spot. Do I go full Hopium?
Believe.
I'm believing. I was gonna go NRG, but you put them at 2, and I hate when I make the graphic and it looks stupid. So I'm going V1.
I love it. I'm picking whatever you pick in the second one.
Too bad I don't have a 1-4 to make you pick like FaZe Clan to lose in the group stage.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm predicting the team to get fourth in Group B, which I'm gonna go with All Mid. Yeah, there's no. No.
3 in.
Yeah, 3B. If you go All Mid, that's.
All Mid did beat Rogue in the close qualifier. Kind of a nightmare matchup, not gonna lie. All Mid number 3.
I hate you so much. You're predicting Rogue to get fourth.
We're too deep into this. We're too deep into this episode. I've lost my mind.
We're almost done. Who's winning Group C?
Charlotte Phoenix.
No.
G2 Esports. They're gonna continue their form. I expect another top 4 plus finish.
You know what? Sonic's breakout. Oxygen's getting third.
Oxygen.
I spelled Oxygen wrong. Shut up. And second in Group D is going to be Torrent. Magic Bear's back. He's on one. Torrent's getting second. Who's getting last?
Torrent. They're also getting fourth.
Hate you so much.
But that's actually what I believe. I don't think that. Maybe Magic Bear Momentum, but I think both Complexity and Exit are going to perform in the last event. So I stick with that. And I would also like to change my A2 pick to V1,
Nope.
and my C1 pick to Oxygen.
Nope.
Please,
Nope.
Mr. Graphics Man, please.
Nope. I'm the graphics guy.
Specifically to Oxygen, spelled Oxugen.
Yes. All right.
Way
Well,
better
that's
brand.
gonna wrap it up. Tune into. I'm hosting the tournament.
Yeah.
All right. Tune into twitch.tv/C_Lion7 this Friday at 6:30 Eastern Time to watch or to play.
8:30 Eastern Time.
8:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 my time. That's on me. That was on me. I'm in the mountains. 6:30 my time, 8:30 Eastern. Be there or be square. I believe is that the tournament motto?
Tournament motto. We just came up with it.
Well, I mean, we already have a graphic for it, so.
So our new brand is squares.
Also, the only thing we're talented enough to make in Microsoft Paint.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, you're the one that made it. I make the beautiful graphics.
Oh, yes. 20 episodes of this.
Be there. Yeah, if you've listened to all 20, seek help.
Be there, Squee Bear.
Please stop talking. We will see you then. It will be after the first round of the NA Regional 3. You can, give us some thoughts. Maybe we'll talk about it on the broadcast. Give a little sneak peek to the upcoming episode because we know you guys want that.
Stay tuned on the Rocket League Twitch channel. I'm sure they're going to host us.
Imagine. Oh. All right. Peace out. We'll see you then.